time for match number 3, which is going to see the Brazilians of Imperial up against Spirit. Two teams that have gone through a little bit of turbulence, I think it's safe to say, in recent memory. Two teams in very different ends of the spectrum. Imperial, just full-on experience, tons of players here that have been multiple times at majors, and Spirit with some youngsters, some previous academy players that just got promoted fairly recently.
Absolutely, and I think it goes without saying, I think a lot of people have spoken about this as well. Imperial are, on average, the oldest team at the major, and Spirit are the youngest. I think an average of like 28 years for the Brazilians, and of course, for Spirit, an average of just 20 years. So, experienced major winners, multiple major winners on one hand, and then you have these up-and-coming youngsters in the form of Spirit. Two very different storylines, right? And for me, what's impressed me the most for this Imperial lineup is when this lineup came together. We're talking about for FNX coming back for what seemingly looked like retirement, and then you have Fallen at the helm and Bolt and Vinny. Many people said it's kind of like a retirement home for these guys. It was a last dance, just having a little bit of fun, and they just went ahead and won almost everything in the region. So they're looking actually legitimately pretty scary.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you've got to say that the core of this lineup is two-time major winners.
Yep.
Fallen, Fur, and FNX. And alongside them, you have Bolts and Vinny. Bolts is super experienced in his own right, and Vinny has been around the block many a time, and more importantly to me, he's actually playing really well these last 3 months. His HLTV rating, I think it's like 1.16. He's up there, he's fragging hard. One of my issues, damn, I didn't realize he had those kind of guns. Fair enough, that caught me off guard, I'm not gonna lie. I just lost my train of thought. They got the firepower now. That was one of my main issues. Like, okay, these older guys, can they still stand? Can they still bang at majors? Well, when you have Vinny coming in and performing in like pretty solid ways recently, that gives me a bit more hope for this team.
Absolutely. Like, I looked at his team and I was like, okay, where are the star players, right? Like FNX, for look, they've had a heyday in the past, but just as a resurgence from these guys and how solid, look, Fur especially, he's been monstrous and nothing new. It's just him running in like just a battering ram and opening a bomb site, being a beast. FNX, I mean, you know how it goes. The guy has 100% major win rate. He's played 2 majors. He's won both of them. This is the third one. He's looking for the third one. He's looking to maintain 100% win rate as well. And of course, Fallen. Like, you might talk about all the veterans here. You might, all memes and jokes aside, you have players like Vinny, like Bolts, who are never really star players in the respective teams, so to speak, and kind of supportive elements. And then you have like the old stars of the years gone by in the form of Fur and FNX. And the fact that it's clicking here so fantastically for this lineup, a lot of praise has to go the way of Fallen.
Well, he's kind of in that same vein as we talked about with Jerry before. Obviously, just Fallen has way more tenure and has been around for way longer. He's known as the grandfather of Brazilian CS for a reason. This guy has been around for so long. So many players have took inspiration from him. So many players have been directly helped from this guy to go from sort of tier 3, tier 2 to tier 1. And here's the other aspect of it as well, and this is something you'll hear about with the MIBR players, I'm sure, later on. He's effectively given so many players the opportunity to actually make a living out of this. Like, some of these players are coming from very difficult backgrounds, from poor areas, and now get to play on a global stage making serious money, and a lot of that comes down to him, and that can't be overshadowed.
Absolutely. Like, you look at the number of Brazilian teams and South American teams in the major right now with the RMR, the Americas RMR. You go back 5 years, 6 years, and you wouldn't find almost any team from the South Americas making it in for any of the NA, the minors and whatnot. It was Fallen and his men who led the way, who carved the path. You got to remember, like, they didn't even have enough money to fly to EU to participate in some of the qualifiers, and it was the CSGO community of players like Flusha, for example, stepping up and chipping in money to make them, live that dream. And like you said, that dream, it trickled down the region. And now you have the Brazilian scene being one of the biggest scenes in Counter-Strike all over the world. On the other hand, we have the youngsters in the form of Spirit. And it's kind of crazy to me that players like Magix and Dexter are now the veterans of this lineup, considering how new they were when they joined this team.
Yeah, it's like, fair enough, Chopper, yeah, he's been around for
a while,
but,
yeah.
But Magix and Dexter, like, say what? A couple of years ago, most people don't know who these guys are. Also, I love that Magix also went in for the, the gun show. Not quite the same as Fur, but it's all right, dude. I appreciate the effort. Either way, yeah, I mean, this is a team that you're looking at the likes of Patsy in particular. Very, very tantalizing prospect in terms of a player. Very, very young. and not a great deal of experience. And so we're in that similar position again, where we don't know what to expect. I just love, he just looks so happy, just like so chill, doesn't he?
Yeah, when we talk about these two teams and we're talking with veterans on the other side and like, you know, the potential nerves of some of these younger players like Patsy, for example, as you pointed out earlier, and Siren, these academy players coming in, they seem to be in a good mood, right? They seem to be pretty jovial, pretty happy, even though they might be the underdogs overall. Those are pretty eyes. Those are very pretty eyes. And I'm talking about Dexter, not the picture. But overall, I'm glad you brought up Patsy, because for me, it's going to be down to Dexter and Patsy being the two key ingredients for the Spirit lineup. Dexter obviously being the highest rated player, the op star in the RMR. He's been kind of like the rock, the carry for this team. And Patsy coming in, the guy is just an entry beast, right? He goes like, what, in the RMR, like 30% attempts, which is ludicrous, but he wasn't able to find too much success while winning this opening duels. But at the same time, he was able to find his openings, and more importantly, considering how young he is, Vince, he is the secondary caller in this team, helping out Chopper. So a lot of weight on this young lad's shoulders.
A lot of weight indeed. And speaking of young and having a lot of weight on those shoulders, expectancy, perhaps Siren is up there as well. You can see his HLTV rating 1.15, has a very high ADR as well. On top of that, you can see his rifle stats pretty solid. Opening kill success, 60% is no small feat at all. So another player as well. I mean, that's the thing about this Spirit lineup. I don't think anyone is looking at these guys and saying that they don't have that much talent. This is a team just chock-a-block full of talent. It's just whether they can perform. And I think sometimes when it comes to Spirit, it's more around their area of calling and their expertise in terms of their set plays that causes a little bit of alarm. I mean, you go back at the start of the year, you remember after the last major, Chopper was dropped, and he was back in, then he was dropped, and then he came back at the start of January again, February time. So it's been like a weird, rocky road of redemption with Chopper as well in this team.
Yeah, it's kind of like a rebuilding stage this team went through after their kind of like their failure at the end of last year, right? And I like that. I like when certain teams or orgs, they're like, okay, this isn't working out. We're not going to try and you know, throw in a couple of band-aids and hope it fixes things. We're going to go for a complete rehaul. They stuck around with Dexter. They were looking for a separate IGL. They were able to find one, and they're like, screw it. We're going to stick with Chopper, and it's going to make it work. And thus far, they've proven it pretty decently. Now, the journey for these two teams in the RMRs, right? You look at Spirit and the teams they beat, where they beat ASG, not exactly, you know, a great team in that particular group, and they were able to take down Endpoint and Anonymo in 2-1 fashion, right? So it's not like they had the hardest path to make it over here. For the side of Imperial, they were very convincing, but then again, they only played against the South American opposition in the form of teams like Sao Caetano. You have like a couple other teams like, you know, Party Astronauts, for example. They even lost to MIBR. So it's kind of like, I don't know what to really make of these two teams, but what I do know what to make of, it's going to be Dust 2 once again, Vince. And it looks like these best of ones, you're going to be seeing quite a few of this particular map. Your favorite as well, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dust 2, great.
Inject that.
I mean, we did call this, you know, because it makes sense. It's a map that most teams know to a pretty good level. Obviously, you get a chance to get rid of all of the maps that you deem to be garbage that you're not very good at. And so you're going to see, I don't expect we're going to see many Ancients or Vertigos in particular. I'd be surprised if we see a great deal of those at all in this entire Challenger stage. So Dust 2 being the Battlegrounds does make for an interesting little conundrum, though, when it comes down to this Imperial team. And you can see there's a slight edge in terms of the betting odds in favor of Imperial, but not too much. And I'm not surprised to see that. Now, I personally had Imperial in my pick'ems. I didn't go for Spirit. I was tempted, but I didn't go for them. I just think their raw experience is going to shine through, and I think that's going to be the case on this Dust 2 map as well. I think they're just going to edge this out. I think it could be similar, though, to our first game of the day, with Bad News Eagles and also up against
Eternal Fire.
Eternal Fire, that's the one. I blanked for a second. 16-14. I think it's going to be a similar kind of road towards the final result with these two teams as well.
Speaking of roads, I mean, the man is seeing a screen right there, FNX. I was getting into Counter-Strike like as an esports back in 2016 when I was still like in just joined college years ago, like what, 16 years ago. That's when he won his first big major, 2006 ESWC. I'm like, who is this kid? He was 16 years old and one of the youngest players, professionals, to win a big event back then. And here he is right now, the oldest player, I do believe, at this major. So he's had a journey. FNX has had a journey, and here he is again, hoping to make it 3 times back to back to back. Well, at least for him personally, playing in the major. But it's great. It's great to see the veterans, you know, kind of I won't lie. When this lineup came together as the last dance, I'm like, yeah, they probably might have a good time streaming, winning a few games here and there, but not be as dominant as they have. And they were looking very dominant in the RMR, where you have teams like Pain, even the online qualifiers where you had teams like Godson, Pain, and whatnot, and 9Z. Imperial looked like one of the cleanest teams apart from, you know, your Furious and Liquid. So a lot because of this guy you see on our screens. Fallen. 24% openings at the RMR, and you know, looking pretty solid as the AWP player. Obviously, you're relying on him to be getting some of those opening duels. But what impresses me a lot is how you know, he's no longer as flashy as he once upon a time, 2015-16, but he is still a very capable pair of hands. And as an IGL, again, we spoke about this earlier as well, being a primary opper, walks with Eternal Fire, and being an IGL can sometimes be, can take away from a personal performance. But Fallen, he's been looking good.
Yeah, he altered his style of play. I remember back in 2015-ish, he used to play up like very close angles and he'd be very flick heavy, and now he's more of a sort of more passive AWPer that can get the job done, but he's not necessarily the sort of loose cannon. You're not expecting him to see him land those shots like Woxit did, as you said earlier on Dust 2. He's way more passive, way more stable, way more consistent in that respect. And I think it's going to make for a very interesting fight against Dexter, because Dexter is the opposite end of the spectrum. Dexter is this explosive, crazy talent. I remember vividly casting him for like DreamHack Open qualifiers when he came out of nowhere. No one had ever heard of this guy. And then suddenly at DreamHack Open, he was dropping 30, 35 kills on the regular, was basically smurfing there.
Yeah.
That's how prominent his rise was and how sharp his rise was as well. So to see him now at this tournament, I think a lot of people look at him and there is a level of expectancy at this stage. It's no longer like, who is this guy? Now it's like, right, Dexter, we know what you're capable of. This is the time to bring it. Like, you have no excuse.
Oh, absolutely. And if I believe he's going to bring it. I believe he's 100% going to bring it. And if Imperial not able to kind of stymie him and try and, like, you know, keep him kind of, I don't know, like not really giving him too many opportunities, I feel like he could just run away with this game, especially in a map like Dust 2, kind of known as the Oppa's Paradise, and just how much is shown thus far in the RMR facing some of the opponents he did. If Imperial aren't ready for Dexter's AWP, and if they're not able to counter it, I feel like it could easily spiral out of control here for the Brazilians. That being said, we do see a few players just, you know, leaning back a little bit, some technical issues, Vince. It does tend to happen. It's it's day one. It's all right.
Yeah, this is where you want the issues to be ironed out. So hopefully this is resolved shortly. But until we see those headphones in and, you know, the over the ears as well, and more importantly, I think the real sign of the green light is the fist bumps.
Yeah.
When the fist bumps come in, you know it's time to shine. And actually, we just have a player gone. So that's even
that's
more
not a
of
good
worrying
sign. Hopefully just a quick bathroom break. Oh, Magic's just, oh, he's getting a lot of love.
So seductive.
Those eyes.
Was it Magic's that used to have like bleach blonde hair?
Yeah, yeah. I didn't recognize him when I saw him without a blonde hair, but it looks like he's gone reverse anime now. So, of course, we have Dexter over there. Have you tried his headsets? The players are using. They use it in the PGL Stockholm Major as well. Those are pretty impressive. The headsets, man.
Never used them. I'll have to give them a try sometime.
Actually snuck in there. Magic's, the man of the hour. Looking at he was pretty impactful as well. Sure, he didn't have the amount of impact like Dexter did with the AWP, but he was one of the pillars alongside Siren, right? You have the youngster in the form of Siren, then you have Magic's, and Dexter kind of like the four veterans for this lineup. And again, you're not looking at him, you know, to be very aggressive or whatnot. He's kind of like a more cerebral player who's going to be the guy who's going to be closing out this rounds for you. And he's going to be instrumental as well. And this team, though, like, one thing we have to touch upon, I think the elephant in the room is to be the fact that neither of the coaches of these two teams are in the server nor standing behind them right now, Vince. And I want to see, like, how much of an impact that's going to have. Because one thing we know about Spirit is they've said it out in the open as well, that they rely heavily on Hallie, their coach, being a voice, not just like a cheerleader, but he's also much more a tactical coach. And look, there are different types of coaches in Counter-Strike. Some can be more tactical heavy, some can be more about, you know, riling the team up, making them feel more comfortable and whatnot. And Hallie's not here right now in the major. And the same thing can be said for Imperial as well. They don't have their coach standing behind them. And that's when that could be the X factor coming in. For a young team like Spirit, having that extra pair of eyes, someone that you've been relying on for so long, not being them could be quite problematic. For Imperial, even though they won't have the coach, they have so much of veterancy in that lineup that they could just be able to shake it away and be like, it's okay. We know what we're going to do. We've been here multiple times, and we know what we have to do in the server. So I don't know. That could be a factor which could come into play here.
That's also why I didn't remove Imperial from my pick'ems, because I felt as if I'm not saying that Peacemaker, yeah, I always get them mixed up for some reason. I don't know why. It's probably because of the
TV show.
The TV show, yeah, with John Cena.
Haven't seen it yet.
It's not going to be that much of a big deal for Imperial. Not to slight or anything like that. I just think that they're going to be okay and going to weather the storm a lot more than Spirit potentially could.
Absolutely. And again, with the lack of Halley standing behind Spirit, even more pressure, I feel a little bit more on Patsy, because as you pointed out earlier, like, he is someone who is going to be chipping in with a little bit of secondary calling for the side, you know, to help out his captain in the form of Chopper as well. It's really cool. It's really cool for a team. You know, you have a new player coming in from the academy team and giving him so much of a voice. It's not something that usually happens in a lot of teams, right? When you have a new gun joining in, you know, a very inexperienced player, usually you're like, all right, shut up, don't say anything. This is what you're going to do. And that's exactly what you're going to do and nothing else, right? And that's happened so many times. Maybe not with that much of, like, okay, that was a little bit of hyperbole from my side, but that's usually how a lot of younger players have to kind of struggle with the new lineups they join. But the fact that giving a lot of freedom, a lot of room, and a lot of inputs, taking in a lot of inputs from the younger players, I think it's a great sign for Spirit. Fist bumps are coming out, Vince. You know what that means. The headphones are coming back on as well. Put it on. Come on, put it on.
Stop laughing.
Put the headphones back on. There we go.
Good lad.
I think it's happening, Vince. I think it's happening.
They're in good form, though. They're enjoying themselves. That's what it's all about. Love to see that from Spirit. Meanwhile, Fallen, gaze is set on. He is in full focus mode right now. Grizzled veteran still in conversation with his teammates, and maybe last tweaks and alterations as to what they want to be starting off with. I can also tell you that we are loading onto the server, so we should be a matter of moments away from kicking our third game off here on the B stream, and it looks like we are ready to go on Dust 2. Spirit will be starting off on the T side, and Imperial will be defending.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dust 2, it is again here on the B stream. Imperial, the veterans, the oldest team in the major against the youngest. A test of age and wisdom and veterancy against new blood. And it is going to be aggression early on from Perp as they charge in towards a long area, but a huge nade being lobbed in by Imperial, and that's going to take a chunk out of the T's. Chopper down to 7 HP. Magix and Patsy as well suffering from the brunt of that HE.
Yeah, that's a lot of damage. It's been inflicted early on. No early casualties, though. And a bit of aggression from Chopper. And the rest of Spirit has been somewhat stalled, stuck on the long side. Maybe faking as if they're rotating back over on the middle. But Imperial are not falling for this. 3 players strong, looking for the run boost. Decide against it. 3 players going to be facing them down the second they get around this corner, but it's Dexter that opens it up with a P250. And that allows them a bit of sanctuary, a bit of a reprieve to just push straight in. Wall of smokes down. Fallen, try as he may, connecting nothing. So many low players, though, on the side of Spirit that's now starting to get finished off. And FNX pushed on the side, gets his head removed by Magic's laser precision. And the bomb is in such a horrible spot that you feel like Imperial have every chance to shine and take this round. Collectively, they're under 100 HP on the rest of Spirit.
They had a chance to sneak the bomb away from the CTs when the smoke was still deployed, but now that the smoke's dissipated, this is looking so unlikely. Just body tags, couple of bullets to the little toe, and it was B double doors. In fact, Chopper still not looking to find Chopper, and Chopper dealing so much damage, not quite able to get the kill though. They're going to group up and try and find him, but Chopper is doing everything single-handedly, and Team Spirit have stolen the round away.
How have they stolen the round? There are 3 players left, all under 50 HP. Every single player a bullet away from their demise. And Imperial have somehow lost out on this. This is where you expect a team of this caliber, of this amount of experience, to put these rounds to bed. It looks gone. But Chopper, the man himself, the IGL, flexing his muscles and getting his team across the board Imperial straight into a force buy though.
That was so a little strange for Imperial, I won't lie, right? In a 3 versus 3, they knew where the bomb was planted. Obviously, a lot of the damage was kind of unconfirmed damage because you saw the nade coming in and whatnot. But Fallen's position there, like, they were so convinced the potential lurk would be coming in from B doors. They weren't expecting anyone making his way out from mid. And especially at that range, close up, that Glock is going to be better. And in Chopper, he made it work, but I felt like Imperial flubbed that a little bit. They really had the right read. They got a bomb dropped as well. Some nice shots coming out, nice damage being dealt out, but huge round being won by Spirit there. A round which, in all honesty, considering the bomb getting dropped, they had no business winning. But a force buy is going to be coming on in. A double tag coming in. They're both and FNX both taking a little bit of damage. Other 3 members of CTs are all the way towards long. Scout getting another tag, but this time it's going to be the CTs able to find a little bit of damage on towards Spirit.
3 players on long as well. Are currently occupied on the side of Fallen. And joined with a little bit of support as well, but Fallen doesn't need it. Takes the head of Dexter. And those opposite numbers have now exchanged for what would be one of many. Stuck behind blue, both of them attacked. Fur with the MP9 can spit bullets. And a bit of venom towards them, hence the smoke. To try and give them a little bit of sanctuary. Allow them to post up on the blue box. See if they can retort with some bullets of their own and some frags of their own. And there's one, but first straight back in again. 3-play-3, and a lot of weakened players are now being finished off. Patsy spots a second player, but Magix has dealt the fatal blow to Fur. And now Spirit, Postman, up against Bolts, but he doesn't survive for much longer. Patsy puts him down with authority. Good round for Spirit.
Good round for Spirit, and I like that. They got a couple of kills towards long for Imperial, but then Spirit immediately knowing that the amount of CTs just trying to take the steals towards long, that means the A bomb side is going to be pretty much bereft of any defense. Immediately flank around while the players towards long, they don't overcommit. They just hold the line, looking for Imperial to look for this fight. And sure, a couple of nice kills coming in from Fur and Fallen, but not to be. And the force buy gets swept aside by Spirit. Losing just a couple of players as well. Mag 10 in the hands of Patsy. He's going to be looking to farm a little bit of cash here. But this one should be a pretty comfortable 3-0 for the side, for the CIS side. And all honesty, it's like this could be easy 2-0 for Imperial. So it was very 50-50 the first round, but right now, Spirit looking to get that 3-0 lead. This should be just a showdown. Dexter taps calmly. Okay, it's an eco 3K, but those are some impressive shots nonetheless.
Credit could get it for the ace, and he will pick up the ace as well. So just a nice little statistical boost on the side of Dexter. And sure, as he said, it's an eco, but his aim was crisp. That was some solid aim and some nice kills falling by himself. But now Imperial can come straight back in with a buy. The downside is that if Fallen wants to go for the early AWP, it's going to be at the cost of a bit of utility. He only has a smoke by his side. And I don't believe they have any kits either. So it's a little bit dicey in some aspects for Imperial, but they have enough firepower to make this round land. Fallen using that smoke to get aggressive down in lower, but nobody is forthcoming for the time being. And they seem to have a good idea as to this. They actually flashed the peak first in, so if Fallen was there, he'd have been flashed anyway, and now they take lower control.
Spirit for the first time, inching the way towards B bomb site. They do have Magix. Again, as you pointed out earlier, he's not going to be the guy making early contact. He's going to be lurking around towards mid. He also has Patsy as well alongside him. Fallen with the AWP, they're out in the open, and he will be traded. Siren will take him down, and now the jig is up. They know it's going to be a B hit. Unfortunately, though, it's only Bolts on the B bomb side.
Patsy taking damage through double doors. Still going to be taking that control regardless, though, forcing FNX away. Really catches FNX in midair, and now they're going to start to spill and just perfect onto the side. Magix takes the head of Bolts, who did post up one beforehand, and with the smoke on the doors, FNX can't do too much about this bomb plan. Fur lining up the grenade, could do a bit of damage. Decent damage to Chopper, knocks him down to 76, but the B side is so rough to retake, even with full players and full utility. let alone when a couple of your players are fairly low. And Vinny, one of those players we were talking about as being a pretty heavy fragger, hasn't really done anything so far in this game, so this would be a great moment for him to strike. Magic's not budging an inch, just waiting. Vinny comes through with Fur, 2 kills back-to-back, and that leaves it all on Patsy. With the AWP up close, even if he connects one shot, he should be traded out straight afterwards.
No time.
But there's no kits. I mentioned it at the start of the round, with a lack of kits, it could make things chaotic and very difficult and untenable to pick up. And that's exactly what ends up happening.
I mean, great attempt at the retake right there, but they took a little too long, and as you pointed out, there was no kit. And when you don't have a kit, you have to be a little bit more aggressive there going in for the retake. Valid attempt from Imperial there. They saved the 2 guns as well. The AWP will be retrieved for Fallen, but Team Spirit, even though that post plan kind of fell apart, still they will come out on top 4-0 now for the CIS side. Of course, they have oodles of money to work with. The AWP will once again come into the very capable hands of Dexter. The rest of Imperial, though, still not as... Ooh, that was scary. Thought Dexter would probably tag him, but no. That was Vinny, able to escape unscathed. Just relinquishing all control of B early on here are Imperial. No one in the B bomb side. 2 players towards mid, 1 towards Cat. A very aggressive hold towards mid and Cat here in Fur. How long is he going to stick around? He's waiting for the smoke to dissipate. He's looking for someone to peek around the top of mid. Is he going to continue with the question? Yes, he is. He does find one, but good trade coming in from Patsy. A 4v4 here. And right now, for Imperial, they're going to be gambling with a 3-man hold towards A, or rather just keeping Fallen towards CD spawn as he slowly pivots back towards A and leaving Vinny all by his lonesome towards B. But this is the right call, because a hit, it is going to be towards the A bomb site.
FNX behind blue as well is the man on spot, the man that needs to capitalize and deliver. More than 1 kill may be required. Peeks out, AWP down, bomb spots with it, and there's a double spray. FNX showing his experience and his skill, but Patsy's up to the task. Brings it down to a 2-on-2. And keep in mind that FNX took a ton of damage in that process, but they do have control over the bomb, and now Patsy's lost his life. Siren in all sorts of bother at this stage. 35 seconds to go. They know roughly where he is. This is such a difficult task.
I love the rotation of Vinny, right? He's immediately running all the way from T-spawn and FNX, holding the line with the AWP. Siren has so many angles to check, and FNX will not miss, Vince.
He does not miss from that angle. Great round from FNX. Finally, Imperial have something to get excited about, something to be happy with, but it's still at the cost of multiple lives, so their economy is not going to be able to stabilize. But this is the play here. Bomb spill, 2 frags, 24 HP left, and he trades up the ball. Great effort from Patsy in the end. We're seeing glimpses and flashes of the players we were discussing in that pre-game segment about some of these younger talents coming through, and they are landing their shots. That's really good news for Spirit fans.
What's not so great right now is the buy for Spirit. Unfortunately, on the rounds they won, they did lose all members, so losing the previous round, they're down to a multitude of pistols. Or rather, just a 1 Tech 9, but still not a very solid buy. We got a Galil for Dexter, we got a couple of AKs and a Mac 10, but that means they're going to be swarming this B bomb site. 1 defender, 1 outside. Bolts, he's been spotted, and here comes the charge, and Vinny's going to help him out. Finds 2, as Bolts finally gets dropped.
There's Patsy again. When they need him, he stands up. 9 kills already, and that will afford them the luxury of a bomb plant. And we've already seen how difficult B-site retakes can be, but it was the 1 round that Imperial picked up. They lost Fur early on, and Patsy with a 2nd. This lad is absolutely tearing it up right now. 11 frags already, and we're only moving into round 7 in just a few moments. Will it be a win, though? As that accolade comes through. And Patsy is playing this perfectly. He's not over-exaggerated on his peaks. He's on for an ace, by the way, and yet he's playing this one so stable, so carefully, and he picks it up himself. A 5K, an ace, and Patsy is just absolutely tearing things open right now for Spirit.
That was a 3v5, Vince. Again, Spirit are just like the individuals. Sure, like you had Dexter with his moments, but Patsy stepping up like this is actually insane. 2 aces already for the Team Spirit side. Albeit, you know, that was an eco ace early on from Dexter, but Patsy, my word, 12 and 3 already, and okay then. Those are some 2 nasty shots coming out from both sides, as Dexter will be taken down by Fallen, but not before he was able to claim his victim in the form of Bolts. It is a bit of a half investment coming out from Imperial, just a pistol scout. and an MP9. That's about it. So Spirit, they need to be wary as Vinny is going to find Siren.
Does indeed find Siren, and in doing so has given them a real chance of winning this round. Let's have a quick look as to whether Imperial can bounce back into this and make it theirs. Over a minute to play with. Patsy, Chopper, and Magix all clumped together, looking to try and push into the B side. There's no early aggression here from Imperial, so there's no early alarm bells that can ring out and let them know that they're about to be aggressed on. Fallen does land the tag with the scout, not the AWP, otherwise that would have been a kill. It was a body shot. Patsy's able to push through with his teammates. Smoke in the eyes of Fur. Although he puts some bullets speculatively through the smoke, nothing is connecting. Molly also on the window. This is bare minimum going to be a bomb plant. There's nothing that the CTs can really do about this one at this stage, as they just cross their fingers and hope for the best. They're hoping for a miracle. They're looking at each other like, one of you needs to tee off here. And FNX is nowhere close. He's still over on the A side of the map. He needs to be joining his teammates out as fastly as possible, especially considering they don't even have a kit here, Blair. They have so little to work with on this retake.
This is about just trying to deal damage. I don't really expect them to go for this. I mean, win the retake, but it's still going to be going for it. The Magix is going to have no trouble whatsoever decapitating Fur and FNX as Patsy chips into the frag of his own. 6-1 for Spirit. Looked a little dicey in the beginning there. Imperial able to get a couple of kills, but now it was, after all, just a half investment for the Brazilian side. And now, once more, the big guns are going to come to play. Fallen, AWP in hand. We got A1s in the hands of each and every one of the players. Vinny should be going for it as well. Unless the double op setup, unlikely. Oh, could be. He's gone for the Kevlar. You can go for an AW. Oh, there we go. A1. That makes way more sense. But I wouldn't be too surprised sometimes to see a double up setup coming to Dust 2. We've seen that happen many times in the past, especially when it started to struggle a little bit here. But 6-1, the scoreline, Team Spirit looking pretty darn solid. They have hemorrhaged a few players in some of the rounds they've won, so the money exactly isn't blossoming at the moment. But when you're 6-1 up, Vince, you're feeling reasonably happy.
On the T side as well, I think they'll absolutely take this. Yes, their economy could be in a little bit better position, but you're up against some of the legends of Counter-Strike. Maybe a case of deer in the headlights, but it's been anything but. They've been cruising down the highway without any real problems at all so far. There's been moments that Imperial will be very disappointed they didn't pick up. It could have been a much closer result on another day. But that's all woulda, shoulda, couldas. It doesn't matter. The fact is that Patsy's on 14 kills, and he is out of control as it stands. We haven't seen that much of Vinny. The last couple rounds, yeah, he's got some kills, but a lot of those have been sort of exit frags and not really that important. So until that changes, Spirit are looking like they're on a fast track to a gargantuan halftime scoreline.
And I love how Spirit are able to just so effortlessly take map control without even showing themselves, right? A little bit of utility being deployed, good protocols in place, and able to get his map control without having to really risk any of their lives. Oh, this is cheeky, though. All right, Fallen, what do you got? He spots a player. He's been spotted out as well, and smartly, he will drop down from his boost, and it's going to fall on back. But look at Patsy, though. So aggressive, ahead of the nade, aggressively posturing, and with that, Spirit going to fall back. It's all the ruse. It's going to be a play heading towards the B bomb site, but there are still two defenders there lying in wait, Vinny and Bolts, and Fur is hearing all this commotion towards mid.
Do something about this though, because they're about to be impressed on the B side. Vinny and Bolt's in so much trouble. Patsy picking up the first frag on Fur. That is going to stall any cavalry for the moment, but Vinny is trying to hold the line by himself. They need to tag team together. Bolt is in a bit of an awkward position. He can't really help Vinny out. Vinny's barrel is coming around the corner, but now Bolt has shown his hand, and Vinny sprays down on another. The bomb's been dropped in an awkward spot on window. They're not sure these last players are coming in. Time is also running incredibly scarce. Flick across, but it's going to be a miss. Dexter could get shanked, but 2 kills come in before a team kill, and there's no time left. Such a chaotic end to the round. I'm still not entirely sure what the hell just happened, but FNX is last man standing, and that's good enough for Imperial to get their second round.
I have no idea what just transpired there. Was it Vinny trying to go for the knife, just dropping from above, getting taken down, and then a TK coming in as well? Absolute pandemonium at the B bomb set, but that got so awkward, right? Because firstly, Fantastic job from both Vinny and Bolts locking down a B bomb site and not budging, right? They just stayed alive. But it's so unfortunate that the other members coming in from CD spawn, they were getting taken down. They're like, okay, we're gonna help our teammates, but they're just getting taken down. But Spirit were just not able to crack open the B bomb site. Coming down to the final seconds, as you said, one more second, he could have got the bomb down. If not the TK, it would have been 1v2 favoring Spirit. But you know what? Doesn't matter how they get it. Imperial, they finally win another round, and at least they kind of break that bit of a streak that Spirit went on.
Scrappy, smooth, they all count. The problem is, though, for the bigger picture, for the longer haul, the impacts that it may have on the finances and the economy of Imperial, we can already see the impact it's going to have down to FAMAS, few players down at $3,500 or so. And it's going to be a difficult one for the purchase. It's not exactly fantastic, though, over on the side of Spirit either. They find themselves in a fairly similar position. They obviously have the AK on the hands of Magix, but apart from that, it's question marks and a lot of uncertainties. As the match pause has came and gone, we're about to find out some of the answers to those questions. So obviously a force buy for Imperial. They're going to go for this. They just won the last round. Why wouldn't they? And on the side of Spirit, it's looking like a lonely AK, unless they buy very late on into the round here. It's just the one AK, and it's Chopper that's going to be using that for himself. The
hero AK in the hands of Chopper, and there's no one else purchasing any Kevlar. I thought Dexter probably would, but then he wants to get his paws on the AWP later on, right? So yeah, it's going to be the hero AK. And considering you hear all these Glocks, Imperial might get a little overeager, they might get a little too hungry, and suddenly they walk into the waiting AK-47 in the hands of Chopper, so things can get interesting here. The smoke getting deployed by Vinny right in the nick of time. Look at the hunt here. Bolts pushing up to the MP9. Be careful. There we go. Chopper will strike, but now the jig is up. Now they're aware there's an automat Kalashnikov in play.
Yeah, now that little bit of potential banana peel has been bruised. It's been snuck out, sniffed out in position. Double setup on Catwalk side. Sees Fur and Fallen play together in tandem. One player over on B, though, is going to be Vinny by himself, but he has, to be fair, really started to come alive in these last few rounds. Had some very important kills, especially in that previous chaotic end. And now Chopper and Magic's looking to try and pilfer and pillage outside on the long side. FNX is here on the car, and keep in mind, two players on Catwalk can quickly rotate back around if the call comes in. And they're about to do just that. Fur has a smoke additionally. Should be highlighted. They can toss that down on Catwalk if they need. And that's going to stymie and stall this push so much longer. Now, to be fair to Spirit, they've taken their sweet time. Probably trying to just hold back and know that there's probably a lack of incendiaries and just general utility that they want to try and expend. The problem is I think they've overstayed this too much, Blair. They've took way too much time, and they've got picked off. I can't really see a way to get back into this round now, especially as Fur just pushes through. Sure, Dexter gets the return kill, but you've got two more players to find on A site. There's 10 seconds left. If Fallen just lands any kind of a shot, this round is done. And that's exactly what happens. They just left themselves no time at all.
And the final seconds are Spirit like, all right, we need to die right now. We need to die right now. We need to get that money. We need to get the bonus money. You can see Dexter just legging it, needing that AWP, which he will now have in his hands. The AK coming out as well for every single one of his teammates, and a little bit of lack of utility for a couple of them. You can see Magic's just a solitary flashbang, Dexter with the smoke, but the rest of his teammates making up for it. Oh, I like this. I like this from Imperial. We've seen a little bit of some switch-ups on the CD defense as Fallen getting aggressive towards lower tunnels with the AWP. This is a bold play as Patty finds Vinny in the smoke. I think that was Patty just reading that hole from Vinny, guys, because I don't think he saw him.
Gets the reward all the same. And that's going to send shockwaves that reverberate around the rest of Imperial now. They're going to leave themselves a bit barren on one of these areas. Fallen needs to pick up this kill, needs to try and trade back and get this one into equality once more, but Smoke's consistently put down. You can see from Dexter's perspective, he can see just over that smoke. If Fallen repeaks, it could be to his demise. And then amongst all of this, Patsy has just snuck his way out on Catwalk. He's able to make up so much room, information gathered, but more importantly, I don't think Fur has any idea what's about to strike him from the back.
Oh,
he's going to get a bullet to the back or the side of the head, and that is A site open for business now. Fallen in such an awkward spot. They don't have mid fully under control either, so they have to send off that B player as well. Dexter on the just retreat, just pure confusion, takes out Bolt before Fallen strikes for a kill, also tagging Chopper through the door, so he's down to 3 HP. But Spirit is still in the ascendancy in this round.
Oh, Suddenly, Vince. Chopper is very, very low right now, mind you. Although, he was, it was towards mid where Fallen hit the wall bang. Oh no. Oh, Chopper. Oh, you absolute animal. He's going to find him, isn't he? He should know where Fallen is. Oh, his thing's inside of CD spawn. He's so sure that Fallen's inside of CD spawn, and Fallen, though, he actually might escape unscathed. He should be dead to rights. Somehow Fallen has pulled off the great escape. And look, I know it's a lost round, but if you look at the... Never mind.
Magix is like, do you know that point you were saying, Blair?
Just shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. That's rough, because if he saved that AWP, I could see them eking out a buy, right? He would have had that OPS, $3,900. He could drop an A1 towards one of his teammates, you know, maybe a couple of FAMASs coming out into play. But this kill from Patsy, and I get what Fleur was trying to do there, but he was crouched down, right? Just trying to poke his head up, but the timing was really off. Like, there was a little bit of time where he was just like ducked in, and Patsy was able to walk past, and you can't have those little holes in the defense, because Spirit are going to poke and prod. And one thing I've been watching from the team is how, like, there's a lot of individual liberty being handed out by Chopper to some of these youngsters, and especially if you're Patsy, it's like 17 and 6. It's like, son, just do what you want to do. Just go run into the bomb set alone if you have to get those kills. But you can see how much of an impact that round had, because the money is absolutely crushed for Imperial. They have to go for an eco, a few upgraded pistols, and FNX with a solitary M4A1.
It's so impressive from Patsy in particular, because, you know, you look at this guy, we were talking about him being this youngster, this guy with a point to prove. 17 and 6 against Fallen, Fur, FNX, like, major winners in the past. Like, this is an outrageous performance by anyone's metric, let alone somebody as inexperienced as this guy. Remember, he was in Spirit Academy not that much long ago, and yet here he is. Dexter, another player that's really rose to the surface and delivered, and in with a frag of his own, and Magix has made it the trifecta of doom as far as Imperial are concerned. It feels like one step back multiple times in the round. They just constantly forced away and just choked out of these rounds. They never really feel like they have a foothold.
Look at how many of them there are, all grouped up. They know it's primarily just pistols, but they're not giving an inch. They're not giving a millimeter. And right now, Imperial, it's been a bit of a rough half here, 8-3. But then, throw your mind back a couple of hours ago. We saw how Bad News Eagles were running away with the first half in Dust 2 over Eternal Fire. It was 6-1 to Bad News Eagles, and yet the half ended 8-7, where it was Eternal Fire was able to string a number of rounds together and get to 7 rounds. So anything could still happen here. For Imperial, bear in mind, you know, they've many rounds they really haven't had the weaponry to... Whoa, okay. Oh, Vinny, that's... Yikes. Ouch. F.
That is a full bruh moment.
Yeah.
Thought you were going to save that weapon, huh? They do have double ops, though, and this is something that maybe could turn the tides. And I completely understand the narrative, and I agree. Like, listen, it looks grim. It looks pretty bad right now for Imperial. Even the nature in which they've been losing these rounds has been pretty lackluster. They have nobody that's on 10 kills or above. Meanwhile, 19 frags for Patsy, 11 kills also for Dexter. But they can turn this one around, and if there's one team here that has been in this position themselves many times over, even at majors, it is Imperial. They can do this, as FNX is showing with his A1S. Sprays down onto 2, single-handedly dismantles this round.
He was completely blinded for that second kill, but he saw him a millisecond before it got blinded. Great spray transfer there, and then Fallen catching Patsy this time around. Patsy will find no luck. Are they going to be just walking in one by one to their deaths? And it's all on Dexter now in a 1 versus 5. Bomb dropped as well. And Vinny will put him swiftly down 6 feet under. Imperial winning a 4th round, but also a very convincing one at that. Spirit, though, didn't try anything too crazy. Went for the fast, long play through double doors, but it got shut down by FNX. Great flashes being used by his teammates as well to kind of delay them. And then, of course, immediately they go for that short play. Right? All right, there's a little bit of pressure towards long. Let's go into it short, but Fallen lying in wait. Not a big fan of how they approached that. No flashes, nothing. The spacing was completely off as well, feeding him 2 free frags. But if Imperial, he'll take it.
Oh, they're fighting hard now. That was probably their cleanest round they've won so far in this game. And if that's one of many, then they'll be happy with that outcome. Vinny, in the meanwhile, though, using the small gap in the smoke to see if he can put that secondary AWP to use. The Team Spirit making making the most of their long control. Smoking and flashing out affords them safe passage into the ramp, and that will be their AWPer of Dexter that is occupying this position. Thus, Vinny must tread lightly. Dexter is very good from these kind of angles and will punish you if you give him a chance. Some aggression out on B side though. Not only looking for a frag, but additionally allowing them to send over Fur to help his A teammates out. This is such a huge moment in the round for Imperial, but what can they do with this information?
Well, they have the information, they have the players as well, everyone's grouped up, and they're even clearing a tunnel. They're not just holding the line, so all 5 members, in fact, are going to be making their way towards the A bomb site. And now the hit is on. They could be just walking into this trap, then they could just get slaughtered. The Molotov's going to keep them at bay. The Patsy playing the anti-flash, getting chipped down to 52 points of health, and now the hit is on. But 4 players lie in wait.
Vinny and Fur, and they're spraying through. The grenade is perfectly timed as well. Slows the players down, weakens them up, and FNX deals the fatal blow onto Magix. Good return kill from Siren, who goes in for 2. Is keeping this round just about on the razor's edge. Chopper takes the head of Vinny, and suddenly Bolt and Fur are left alive.
The nade almost finds both Chopper and Siren, but the bomb will be planted now and Bolt's coming in. Chopper spots him at the edge of the smoke, and somehow a 3v5 down to a 1 versus 3, and Fur's got to do everything. Buys loans, a good flash to find one. He's looking everywhere, up, down, and he can't find the second. Siren will shut him down. The Siren song of death being sung by his AK-47, and Team Spirit, that's daylight robbery. Look at the amount of damage inflicted, and they had the perfect read, and you said it, Vince. You said it, they have all the information, they have the entire defense set up. What are they going to do with this? They let it slip out of their hands. They let it slip out of their hands. Imperial, they're going to be kicking themselves.
Especially when you think back to the previous round, how clean that was. FNX doing so much work, double spray while flashed on long. Everything falls into place. They have the AWPers taking position. It's like, okay, this is your foundation that's been laid down. Now can you build upon it? And they instantly get knocked back down. Not just knocked back down, though, but in a round that should have been theirs. It's got to hit your confidence. It's got to hit the momentum. But more importantly, it hits the bottom line. Their finances. They can afford a buy here, but it's no AWP, 2 MP9s, and they have nothing else left in the bank. Their accountant is massively grimacing at this point because he knows, as do we, that if they concede this round, they are eyeing up the very real possibility of being 11-4 behind. And Patsy decides to rush in, but that proves to be incorrect in terms of winning out in this trade. Vinny with his MP9 sprays them both down and gives Imperial a real chance of maybe getting a fifth. Smoke down into position, and Fallen will be spraying through there. Incendiary on the window has now cleared out. Will he go for the retake? Not able to do so, and loses its life. FNX through the smoke, and that's all based off the molly. As soon as you molly the window, you know players have to retreat, and that's right into the Chopper's fire line. And now Bolts with the MP9 sprays out onto Dexter. Chopper and Siren, last 2 players left, and Chopper, by the skin of his teeth, 4 HP remains, is now the last player alive for Team Spirit. Flashed, forced away from smoke, stuck in the middle of nowhere, and now has been finished off by the hands of Bolts. Imperial do get their 5th round on one of their, honestly, worst buys that we've seen in a full-on buy round. 2 MP9s, 3 M4s, and they can now trade some of those up. Critical round being won there. And for Spirit, yeah, they went for the B play. They haven't gone for it at all. Vinny doing a great job, perfectly timed smoke there to just, rather the T smoke, and able to use it to his advantage. A little bit of team flash coming in as well. But this flank from Bolts are coming in all the way from T-spawn. They weren't expecting it, and the moment they lose control of tunnels, it was going to be nigh impossible for the lone defender at the end, their Chopper, to hold on to the bomb site. So fantastic work coming out from Imperial, but again, these rounds are far and few in between, Vince. It just doesn't feel like it's enough, but this is a switch-up. Fur, he's on top of mid at the very beginning of the round, and Fallen posted towards lower tunnels. It looks like Imperial, they've woken up a little late in this half, but they're finally looking to wrest control of this match back. Love it. Now Bolt's flashed out of position, doesn't even need to repeat. They know they have the player advantage, must realize the economy of Spirit is in the dumps, and therefore the buy's not ideal. And they've still got incendiaries, they've still got flashes, they've still got smokes. They still can't pull this one off. Fallen is waiting for that pixel. The incendiary doesn't. Chopper. Oh, and a double spray just transfers to the head of Fur. Are you serious? How has he pulled that one off? And in doing so, now Spirit could feasibly win this round. Bolts has to make an audacious play through the smoke, and he's punished. Dexter goes in for 2, and out of nowhere, Spirit should have this one tied up and take the 10-5. Chopper, take a bow. That was disgusting.
That's unreasonable. That is actually unreasonable from Chopper. I mean, I almost forgot Dexter getting a 3K over there. I need a replay of that, please. Let's get a replay. Let's slow it down to like 0.25x and show that, because that was actual film. How quick was that? And then Dexter at the bomb site. Immediately, Imperial, they know they need to push onto the bomb site. They're running out of time, they're running out of members. And then Dexter holding the line. 10-5 for Team Spirit. What a start for them. For Imperial, though, 5 rounds, it's not terrible. It's not the worst. There is something to work with here. But the pistol round, it's a cliche, Vince. But I feel like it will be imperative here for Imperial. No pun intended.
No, it has that feeling, absolutely. That sinking feeling in the pit of their stomach. They know that this pistol is so important. Although Dexter got 3, he'll be called upon many times in these next few rounds, I have to feel. And it could be to the detriment of Imperial. Julie up close, there's one, but traded back. Patsy will not have a second kill coming in. Grenade down, does slow him out a little bit, but Vinny is still pushing forward. Chopper is there, though, to just batter him away. And Chopper is performing so well in terms of the fragging. He's not a player you expect to be up there, but right now he's standing for the rest of his teammates. Sara needs to piece out of middle, otherwise he could get overrun, and they need to maintain this player advantage.
How proactive is this defense coming in from Team Spirit, right? They're just not holding the line. They'll say that the Dexter will be plucked. They're also aware of Chopper's position. Chopper making it no secret that he's going to be falling back towards A, although is a little further away from the T, so they don't probably have that information. Again, Team Spirit, they're constantly moving like an amoeba all around the map, and now they're going for the long control together, both the players grouped up. And obviously Imperial are unaware of this. They're going to be taking the sweet time, clearing out all the angles. They're paranoid, and they should be expecting at least one CT on that A bomb site. The smokes will be deployed. 35 seconds on the clock. They will be going for the hit here towards that A bomb site, but 2 players lie in wait.
One of which is Chopper. He's already carved a path. Further ahead. Will there be more bloodshed? Spill from Chopper's hands. Indeed there shall. And Magix is there to lend him a helping hand as well with his USP. And suddenly, there's only 1 player left alive. The round is not over yet,
Hello?
I don't think.
What's going on? There we go.
We got 10 seconds to go, and Bolts is still alive. He needs to die at this point. This is one of those situations like, please kill me! And Chopper obliges him with his 14th kill in the game.
Chopper, he can spray, he can tap, he can IGL. Man, he's a full package. And I love that though, right? The way Spirit, they didn't allow Imperial to kind of dictate the pace of that round. They were constantly re-aggressing, constantly moving around. We had this aggression towards the tunnels, Chopper getting a pick over here. And when he went for that fight towards short, he waited for the flash round from his teammates. He just waited, he was just teasing them, and then he finally gets to kill. Dexter will have no trouble finding Fallen, and Chopper, he continues. He even makes the FAMAS look good, although didn't have any armor. I didn't believe myself when I said that, Vince. I won't lie. A little bit of hyperbole.
I just kind of heard you didn't fully commit, you know. It was like you're dipping your toe in the pond. And now Bert, with his scout, is, well, he's pretty much just living on a prayer now. Vinny has been put down. All 5 players remaining. Best of luck to you, Bert. If you get any kills, it would be impressive. And Magix, well, he's going to deny any scout shenanigans and get Spirit off to a 12-5 scoreline. And with having 3 FAMASs in play, an MP9 and a Scout, they don't even need to do anything in terms of upgrading their weapons. This is effectively a bonus round. And this is the perfect time to bust this out. 12-5 in the lead, even if you concede this, you have so much leeway, you have so much wiggle room. All the pressure right now is on Imperial.
Absolutely. And this is where the veterancy comes into play. This is where these are major champions, Vince. Multiple major champions on this lineup. But this is a real test, right? Like, they've had basically, they've been smurfing, just having a fine old time playing in the Americas against the Brazilian teams, the South American teams. But this is against a hungry Spirit. And what is Dexter doing to them? This is illegal, Vince. He's gonna find 2 with the Scout. This is against a full buy, mind you. Vinny at least able to trade back. But what was that from Dexter?
Just Dexter thinks, man, that's what we know he's capable of doing. Just spin on a dime, take heads left and right. He is such a proactive player. Kind of guy as well that can get it done with rifles, scouts, orbs. He can do anything really. And now Fur, Vinny, and Bolts have the tumultuous task of trying to break down this bonus round. Remember, there was no premier weapons coming through into this round, and now Magic's up close with the MP9, has Patsy behind him, spray is good, bomb gets spilled down, Magic's is still alive, still kicking, and still kicking ass. It's gonna be 13-5, and Spirit win their bonus. Imperial are in ruins right now.
Absolutely ruined. I want to go back to those 2 kills by Dexter, because that was actually so filthy. All right, first one, pretty standard by his standards, right? That's just one, yeah. That's BS. That's actually BS. And then of course Patsy and Magic's. I love how they're utilizing this weaponry, right? They're playing up close and personal, knowing that an MP9 at that range could potentially have the edge. As Dexter, he continues to torture Imperial here. It's his laboratory right now, Vince, and he's conducting illegal experiments on them.
Well, you have to be careful, because sometimes, you know, Frankenstein's monster and all that stuff. Be careful what you wish for.
True.
So far, though, there's been no lightning bolts down on Imperial to awaken them. They're still lifeless.
They do have a bolts, though.
They do. I didn't even mean that. Sometimes, you know, just happy little accidents, as Bob Ross would say. And now Dexter, easy second kill. There's 2 more players there, but he does have some backup. And that is Chopper. And this Spirit is looking like they are firing on all cylinders. We had doubts, we had worries, we had concerns. And I've got to say, this has been an incredible performance from Spirit.
We were talking about Patsy in the first half, but Dexter has just come alive, right? Even though it's been padded a little bit with that eco ace he had earlier, some of the shots has been hitting, especially once they shifted over to the defensive side, has been quite ludicrous. FNX, his days are numbered. This was, of course, just a half investment coming in from Imperial. They're saving up all the money they have for the remaining rounds. What's Chopper doing? This is... They're toying with their food, man. They're actually toying with their food. The disrespect. Ah, I love it. I love it. They know exactly where he is, and they're just slowly encircling him like a pack of hyenas. Ah, you just love to see it. A little bit of cheekiness on this Spirit lineup, and we're questioning: do they have the veterans? Do they have the tenacity and the kind of the nerves to handle the pressure of playing against major champions like the Fallens, like the FNXs, like the Furs of the world? And right now, they're showing, yeah, we don't care. We're here to play. And they're looking clean.
Exactly. We saw them laughing very sort of jovially and very joyful at the start of the game. They looked relaxed. They looked in their element, and we're seeing the performance follow that one up. Siren's maybe been a little bit quiet, but when you have Dexter and Patsy fragging this hard, he's not really been needed. Not really been required to perform in this game, and we know he can when needed. So that's another ace up their sleeve. Imperial, in the meanwhile, though, there's always 2 sides to every story. They have been a little bit lackluster. I don't think there's any getting away from that. They've not played the level that we maybe expected them to. The game isn't over yet. There is still a way back in, but this feels like it's their last lifeline. They lose this, 10 match points, their economy in the bin once again, and they haven't really got much early on. There's not tons of utility either, Blair. They actually have, what, no smokes left? None for the cross, none to break out and breach on long. This is looking so dire. 2
flashes and a Molotov, all they have to work with, and thus far, Spirit have not shown anything. They haven't given them any vision as to where these setups are going to be, right? That's a pretty default setup, right? You have Patrick tucking towards mid, Dexter looking for the contact play, and just if you're going to be walking out like that, straight into his crosshairs, Dexter's going to immediately dispatch of you, and all the timing, it could not have been worse. Patsy aware there could be second player around the corner, a huge find from Vinny, but now the jig is up. 20 seconds, what do? You might as well just save at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment, especially considering their lack of economy. However, with 10 seconds and deciding to push in, they would have to get rid of Magix right now. They've done that. Is there enough time? I think just about by the skin of their teeth, they're going to get this plant down. Bolts has enough with a second to spare. We doubted them. We said maybe go save. They thought differently. And maybe fortune will favor the brave after all. Maybe this is the start of something special. Spirit realized, listen, chances of us clutching this round pretty slim. So let's take our 2 AK-47s and make sure that we bag ourselves these 2 premier AK and assault rifles to take into
when I said I should be saving, I wasn't talking about Spirit. Yeah, I literally that round should have been unlosable. Unlosable for Spirit. It's a 5 versus 3. The 20 seconds on the clock. They haven't used any utility, and they just run in. Hold W in Imperial, like, we're just gonna crack skulls. And every single one of the 3 surviving members getting a kill apiece. Huge. Vinny as well, so low on health, able to clothesline the player coming in from behind towards Cat. Fallen, catching the player in the bomb site. And honestly, I feel like Spirit, they weren't expecting that play. They weren't expecting Imperial to run into the bomb site with 20 seconds on, because it did look like a little, they kind of like lifted the foot off the gas pedal a little bit in the final few seconds. They're just getting completely out-dueled, caught out in the open, but what a round from Imperial. More like that, please, sir.
I wonder if Spirit also assumed they were going to do that, and they kind of caught off guard. Magic's, though, very reminiscent of what FNX did in that first half. Sprays down all by himself, even while flashed, and forces away Imperial. So often we've seen Imperial get around, just brute force their way in, and then instantly lose out next time. Chopper from the side cuts down Fallen where he stands, drops the bomb out into the open, and FNX may not be long for this world if Chopper continues to push. It seems like he has no idea as to FNX's position, but even if Siren is to fall right now, there will be a counteractive kill, and Chopper, of course, he does his due diligence, of course he checks his angles, and of course Patsy comes out ahead with this engage against Fur. 9 match points to Spirit. And we said before, Blair, about the whole coach situation with these 2 teams. If there was one team that could potentially feel that more than the other, it would probably be Spirit. They have other thoughts about that.
Oh, absolutely. This has just been a clinical masterclass coming out from Dexter and his men. And honestly, like, apart from the few runs, like the previous round comes to mind where Imperial, they went in for that hit with 20 seconds on the clock. And I feel like Spirit were kind of caught off guard there. But apart from that, they have looked so very good. Everyone, the individuals, the game plan they have in mind, just being executed to perfection. Patsy, 24 and 12. Dexter, 23 and 15. Siren, the young star, he really hasn't had to do much. Chopper as well, you know, the IGL, putting in the numbers. And now 9 map and match points for the CIS side. And for Imperial, it's going to be a long climb uphill, a volcano with lava cascading down.
Yeah, that's about as bleak as I could really make it as well, to be honest, Blair. It is looking like an incredibly tumultuous task. Fallen looking to try and navigate himself through the murky waters of Long. They're going to explode out, but there's no smokes, there's no flashes, there's nothing that preoccupies. And 4 players sat there watching, anticipating this push. Patsy now can just hold in position because there's so many players up here. That kill down in lower needs to go the way of Fur. If he loses out on this trade, this round is pretty much done. The fact he wins it now allows them safe passage back over onto the B side of the map. But once again, Blair, time is of the essence. 35 seconds, and Chopper is in position to maybe put down some players. He takes out Vinny, and that might be good enough.
They saw the bomb as well, and now Patsy with the AWP looking to find him. Fur has got it. Trek back towards mid. The smoke has been utilized towards the entrance of B, so they have no control of anything. They have no control of the site. Of either side, 16 seconds, Vince. They have to go for the play, and there's no utility.
Oh, Dexter, he's already got 1 this round from a very similar position. Misses this shot. How important could this be? 5 seconds to go. Bomb needs to get planted. Oh, I think Bolt took too long. He came out with the bomb too late. And Spirit take the round. What a strange end to this match. But oddly enough, it's fitting.
It's fitting.
Imperial, which has never felt like they showed up this game.
Absolutely not. They look so discombobulated. That long hit at the very end over there, the only player who had any utility, the smoke and the Molotov and the flash was Fur. And he was waiting all the way towards lower tunnels to just, I mean, he was playing his role, right? But why wasn't the utility tossed to his teammates? Where was the game plan? It really felt like they were just going for plays without really having an understanding of how they wanted to approach a particular round. And apart from a few heroics coming out from some of the individuals, like, you know, I go back to FNX getting the double kill towards long doors, for example. It was Spirit all the way. Like, make no mistake, Spirit were the dominant entity in that server. And credit where it's due, even though they don't have the coach behind them, and as you alluded to earlier as well, both these two teams don't have the respective coaches, and it looked like Imperial would be the team who'd be able to manage that better, handle that better. Clearly it didn't. You can see as well, they look very disappointed, and they should be, because heading into this matchup, looking at the tenure these guys have, and the kind of very good run they've had in the region, you'd be forgiven for believing that Imperial were the favorites heading into this matchup, but Spirit played like absolute animals.
They really did, and a lot of those components that rose to the top, you know, we talked about Patsy and Dexter already. I don't want to say they're expected to perform because it's a major, I don't quite know. I need to give some love to Chopper. Chopper's fragging was so good. He was doing everything. He was also that player that was the rotational element when it came to the CT side and almost the lurking element when it was the T side. And he was just having consistent and total domination, honestly, in terms of where he was moving, and he always seemed to be in the right place at the right time. I think it's also important to mention, as you said, though, listen, this isn't the Imperial that we were expecting to see necessarily. They have way more gears to travel through. This is a team that I think can handle this disappointment and this defeat. It's probably them. I think they can bounce back from this. I think they'll probably take some lessons from it and actually use it for their fight, you know?
Absolutely. I've watched them during the American RMR, and this is far from the level. And I know you can always bring up the caveat that, sure, they played against, you know, the likes of teams like Sao Caetano and Party Astronauts and Case, who are wholly different as opposed to the force that was Spirit over here. But hopefully we see more from them, right? Hopefully they're able to recover. Dexter, though, man of the match. It was a toss-up between him and Patsy. I'd probably edge it to Patsy a little bit because he was doing it on the T side, which is even more impressive.
True.
But Dexter, man, when he came alive with the AWP, that was so impressive. And I love this. I love it's not just a static graphic. It's Dexter just folding his hands, showing, yeah, I'm pretty good at this game.
He's trying to, like, have a staring contest. So I guess he won, because I definitely blinked multiple times. I'd be quite scared of walking into him in a dark alley. That being said, though, Blair, we're done with our third game, which means we have our fourth just around the corner. Oh. We're going to see some more Brazilians take to the server. You're not going to miss it. We'll be right back.
Now that's what we call major. 14 days of high-octane action. 14 days of fierce battles. 14 days of special bonuses from GG Bet. Whoop, cheer, and make your fortune.